Here's what nobody tells you about the moment God finally spoke again after 400 years of silence. He didn't show up at the temple on Passover with thunder and fire. He appeared to an elderly priest during a routine morning shift, standing next to the incense altar where no one was supposed to be. His name was Zechariah. He'd been a priest his entire adult life, serving in the temple during his division's rotation twice a year. He'd memorized the last words of the last prophet, Malachi, who'd written, "Behold, I will send you Elijah the prophet before the coming of the great and dreadful day of the Lord." That was 4 centuries ago. Zechariah was born into the silence. So was his father. So was his grandfather. And here's the thing about Zechariah. He'd been praying for a son for decades. His wife Elizabeth was barren. They'd tried everything. Prayed every prayer. Made every sacrifice. Nothing. And now they were both old. Way past the age where that prayer made any sense to keep praying. So on this particular morning, Zechariah wins the lottery. Literally. The priests cast lots to see who gets to burn incense in the holy place. And it's a once-in-a-lifetime honor. Most priests served their whole lives and never got picked. But today, it's Zechariah's turn. He walks into the holy place alone. The crowd is outside praying. He's standing at the golden altar of incense, right in front of the massive curtain that hides the Holy of Holies. He pours the incense on the coals. Smoke rises. And then he looks up. There's someone standing there, on the right side of the altar. Just standing. Exactly where no human should be. Zechariah is terrified. Luke chapter 1, verse 12 says when Zechariah saw him, he was troubled, and fear fell upon him. But listen to what the angel says. Verse 13, "Fear not, Zechariah, for your prayer is heard, and your wife Elizabeth shall bear thee a son, and thou shalt call his name John." Your prayer is heard. Which prayer? The one he stopped praying years ago because his wife is 70? Or the prayer he's prayed his whole life? That God would speak again? That the silence would end? The angel keeps going. He says this son will be great in the sight of the Lord. He'll drink neither wine nor strong drink. He'll be filled with the Holy Spirit even from his mother's womb. And then he says the thing that should have made Zechariah recognize what was happening. Verse 17. "And he shall go before him in the spirit and power of Elias, to turn the hearts of the fathers to the children, and the disobedient to the wisdom of the just, to make ready a people prepared for the Lord." That's it. That's the Malachi prophecy. The 400-year-old promise. The angel is saying, this ends now. Your son is the answer to the last thing God said before going silent. And Zechariah says, how can I know this is true? I'm an old man. My wife is old. Which sounds like a reasonable question. Except the angel doesn't treat it like one. Verse 19. "I am Gabriel, that stand in the presence of God, and am sent to speak unto thee, and to show thee these glad tidings." Then verse 20. "And, behold, thou shalt be dumb, and not able to speak, until the day that these things shall be performed, because thou believest not my words, which shall be fulfilled in their season." He's struck mute, not just told to be quiet, unable to speak, physically silenced. The first words spoken by heaven in 4 centuries, and the guy who hears them can't tell anyone. Here's what's so brutal about this. Zechariah's entire job as a priest is to speak blessings over people. When he finishes the incense offering, he's supposed to come out and pronounce the blessing over the crowd. "The Lord bless you and keep you." But when he walks out of the holy place, he can't say a word. He's gesturing wildly, trying to explain. The crowd realizes he's seen a vision, the first confirmed divine encounter in 400 years, and the only witness has been muted. 9 months later, Elizabeth gives birth. The family gathers for the circumcision on the 8th day. They're all expecting the baby to be named Zechariah, after his father. But Elizabeth says no. His name is John. The family is confused. Nobody in their family is named John. They turn to Zechariah. He asks for a tablet. He writes, "His name is John." And immediately, his voice comes back. Luke chapter 1, verse 64 says his mouth was opened and his tongue loosed, and he spoke, blessing God. The first thing he does with his voice is bless God. Not complain, not explain, not defend himself. He blesses God. Because here's what I think happened during those 9 months. Zechariah had spent 40 years praying and getting silence. And when God finally answered, his first instinct was to question it. So God gave him 9 months where he couldn't speak at all. He could only listen. He had to watch his elderly wife's belly grow. He had to sit with the impossibility becoming possible right in front of him. He had to live in the evidence without being able to commentate on it. And by the time his son was born, he wasn't the same man. You've been waiting for something. Maybe for years. Maybe you've prayed so long that you've started checking off the prayer list without even expecting an answer anymore. The words feel like they're bouncing off the ceiling. And when nothing changes, part of you wonders if God is even listening. If the silence means something about you. If maybe you're the problem. Here's what Zechariah's story says. Sometimes the silence isn't rejection. Sometimes it's preparation. God wasn't ignoring the prayers for 400 years. He was building toward something so big that when it finally happened, it would rewrite everything. And the same God who kept his promise after 4 centuries is keeping track of every prayer you think went unanswered. The delay doesn't mean no. It means not yet. And when the answer finally comes, it won't look like you thought it would. It'll be bigger. Stranger. So specific to what God has been building that you'll realize the wait wasn't wasted. It was written into the plan from the beginning.